Okay. We are live right now here on this Sunday. I was about to say July. This Sunday, yeah, we're live. Okay, I think we're live. Are we live? I think so. And I'm just waiting for people to pop in to let me know that there's no echo on the microphone. Because a few months back when I was testing out this live feed, I was having some audio trouble trying to get rid of the echo. So I'll wait for some people to pop in and see if the echo is gone. And while we wait for people to pop in, or maybe nobody will pop in. Maybe nobody's going to show up. Maybe nobody is going to show up. Who the hell knows, right? I see we have some people showing up now. That's totally great. Hey guys, how's it going? Good. So there's no echo, right? There's no echo? Everything sounds good. I just want to sort of establish that first before we move on, because obviously I don't want to do the whole broadcast with an echo. So there's probably a bit of a delay as well. Sounds good? Great. Okay, perfect. That's all I needed to know. So don't ask questions yet. Okay, let's see if we can get some momentum going with some people coming into the room. Let's sort of, wait, a little bit. Not too long, but just a little bit to see if we can get some people coming into the room. And then I'll let you guys know when you guys can start firing questions off to me. Again, I don't usually do live broadcasts, so I have everything set up. I haven't done one since I think the beginning of November, so I'm trying to get my bearings again on how this works, and I forgot that there's a bit of a delay, so it's kind of throwing me off a bit over here on this screen, but I'll get used to it. It's all right. No biggie at all. So we got 20 people watching so far. That's great. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It is Sunday, January the 7th, 2018. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy fucking New Year, man. It's hard to believe that it's 2018. It is. It's hard to believe it's 2018. Crazy. So how you guys doing? What did you guys... Okay, don't ask questions yet. Okay? I do want you guys to ask questions, but I want to sort of get the room going first. So sort of to eliminate some repeat questions right off the bat, if you know what I mean, right? So let's just calm down. We have some time. Anyway, yes, Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, a great holiday, a great Hanukkah, a great Festivus, whatever the hell you celebrate this time of year. I hope you guys had a great time doing it, and had a great New Year's as well. My New Year's was a little uneventful. It was bitterly cold here in Toronto. I think it was the coldest New Year's on record in like 40 or 50 years. It was something like minus 25 degrees Celsius, okay? And with the wind chill, it was like minus 32 or something like that. Now that's Celsius, okay, not Fahrenheit. But still, that's like really bitterly cold. So I kind of stayed in, watched a couple of movies with my girlfriend. We didn't do too much. But it was nice. It was nice. It was even cold in Florida. Yes, Tiger Man. I hear that. It was pretty cold in Florida as well. Northern Florida, I think, right? Like around Tallahassee. I think you guys got a bit of snow from that huge storm that just went through a couple of days ago. So we got 30 people watching now. That's great. Again, guys, don't ask any questions yet. I just want to see if the room can fill up just a little bit more. Let's just wait, a few more minutes. Nothing major. Yeah. So this is great. Just trying to get used to the live broadcast again, the live feed on how this works. I see you guys rolling into the chat room here. That's great. Bitter cold here with 1.5 feet of snow. Jersey got pounded. Yeah, I mean, I'm in southern Ontario, so we get lots of snow here as well. But you guys on the East Coast just got hammered with snow a couple of days ago. Unbelievable. So yeah, let me see here. Again, so I sound okay. I sound fine, which is good. You guys let me know that If there is an audio problem, let me know, but I think I have everything set up perfectly fine. So as soon as we hit 40 people in the room, that's when you guys can start asking your questions. Now, there's a bit of a delay for me. I see 37 right now, okay? But let's wait and see if we can get 40 people into the room, and then we'll ask some questions. Or I'll get you guys to ask some questions. So we'll see if anybody's going to join us. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I thought maybe this would be a good way to kick off the new year. A good way to kick off 2018 is to do a live AMA, a live AMA. A buddy of mine the other day who I was talking to, I was like, yeah, I thought I was going to do a live AMA to kick off the new year. And he's like, what the hell's what AMA? AMA? What's that? I had to explain it to him. But anyway, 36 people in the room. Come on, 4 more people. We can get these questions going, folks. 4 more people. We can get 3 more people. And we can get these questions going. Whatever questions you guys have, whatever it is, I will do my best to answer them. If I do not know the question, I'm not going to be a dick and pretend that I do know. Because maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know the answer to the question that you might have. So if I know where you might be able to find the answer, I'll point you in that direction. But if I have no idea, I'll just be like, I don't know. That's a great question. I have no idea. So I always try to be as honest and forthright as I possibly can. Again, I'm not here to confirm what you love. Just because you love something or love a particular film or a particular genre or whatever the case is, that's great. I may not share the same view, and that's okay. I'm not here to just, pander to what you like and confirm your ideals of what you like. I'm here to basically give my opinions on things that I see, and that's what I do. So based on my experience. So, okay, yes, we've hit 40. We have hit 40 people in the room. Thank you, folks, for joining me. Let's see. We'll see how high it gets, or maybe it'll just be the 40 of us. Who the hell knows? So you guys can start asking your questions right now. Again, if I don't get to your question, it's nothing personal. It all depends on how fast the feed is going by. And of course, how thorough I am with a particular question. So I like to be thorough, and we'll see how it goes. So let's see how we do here. Okay, right off the bat, David Coe. Am I saying that right? David Coe, important question. He had lasted longer in bed with Linda. Had he lasted longer in bed with Linda, would Bob have survived Halloween night 1978? That's a hypothetical. I mean, sure. Okay, sure. Maybe Bob would have. Maybe he would have. Maybe Michael Myers would have come up, killed Linda, killed that bitch, and Bob would have jumped through the window, ran across the street, told Laurie, and the whole movie would have ended completely differently. Who knows? I don't know. Okay. Anonymous V says, do you think they will use a 60 or 70-year-old Michael Myers in this year's Halloween film? Well, they have cast Nick Castle to play the Shape. As I said in my Nick Castle video a couple of weeks ago, I don't think him being 70 years old is going to be a deterrent or a hinder on the Michael Myers we're going to see in this new Halloween film. And the reason for that is purely based on the fact that we know they want to go back to the roots. They know they want to go back to the flavor and the vibe of the original Halloween, right? So it makes sense. I mean, yes, is casting Nick Castle fan service? Absolutely it is, 100%. They don't, they didn't need to cast Nick Castle as Michael Myers, but the fact that they're doing that tells me that there isn't anything that Nick Castle did in the original Halloween that he couldn't replicate in this new film. All the stunts that were done in the original film, which weren't a lot, weren't done by him anyway. So, the sitting up, the head turn, the walking down the stairs, the walking up the stairs, all those things that we know and love about his movements, he certainly could probably replicate in the new film. So I don't think his age is going to be a factor in replicating the Michael Myers we know and love. Now, the question is, will they bring attention to the fact that Michael Myers is a 60 or 70-year-old guy, a 61-year-old guy, because that's what he would be in the new film? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. But if they do, then of course that would be the human side of him, right? That's the human side of the supernatural flavor, right? Because obviously he's aged. It's a good question. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, The Shape 1978 says, oh, sorry guys, lost that. Let me go here. Hang on. The Shape 1978 says, with everything we know right now about the new Halloween, would you say it's shaping up to be a great installment in the franchise? I think on paper, it looks good, but we still don't know what the story is. We still don't know what John Carpenter loved. Remember, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride took the treatment and the synopsis and the script to John Carpenter, who's the executive producer, and he loved it. But John Carpenter hasn't exactly been dishing out blockbuster horror films lately, and he hasn't arguably since the late 90s. So I know some people really like The Ward from 2010, I believe. But John Carpenter really hasn't been making a lot of movies. So, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, on paper, it could be fantastic. But how you execute it and how you implement it is a bit different. There's a saying in the film industry, there are three movies. There's the one you envision, there's the one you write, and then there's the one that comes, to fruition, right? The one that actually ends up on the screen. So the one that is in David Gordon Green and Danny McBride's head and the one they have put down on paper, will that, transfer to on the screen? Who knows, right? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, Benji GTA V, which is Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm assuming. Do you think they will be using the original mask from the original Halloween, or do you think they will fuck up the mask like they did in H4? Now, if you're saying, do I think they're going to use the original mask that they actually used in the original Halloween 1 and 2? No, because that mask is disheveled and owned by somebody else and not in the greatest of condition. And if you were to use it, it would fall apart. If your question is, do I think they're going to use a mask that looks nearly identical to the original? Yes, I think they will do that. It makes sense. I mean, the pattern, casting, Jamie Lee Curtis, bringing back John Carpenter, going back to the original tone and vibe, bringing back Nick Castle. Yeah, it would be very weird if all of a sudden they chose a mask that is nothing like the one that was in the original. Okay, let's see here. 1984, Marmo says, in what scenes capacity do you think Nick Castle will play the Shape? I think he will play Michael Myers in every single scene that he can do, barring any sort of stunts. Now, again, as I said in my Nick Castle video, there's a difference between physical acting and stunts. Harrison Ford said that he doesn't do stunts, he does physical acting. So it's important to remember that, physical acting can be, getting into a tussle with somebody, right? Maybe running up a flight of stairs and throwing yourself into a wall, falling down onto the floor. Things like that, that's physical acting. Stunts are like falling out of a plane, falling off a building, falling down a set of stairs. That kind of stuff, no, I don't think he's going to do at all. But, being physical with a actor or actress in some sort of tussle, yeah, I think Nick Castle could probably handle that. But we'll see. Okay, thoughts on the Disney Foxx buyout. Draven G says thoughts on the Disney Foxx buyout. To be honest, I haven't thought much about it. I think it's too early to tell. I think we tend to get our backs up, and certainly we don't want a monopoly on the industry, but we have to remember Disney buying Fox, they're not necessarily buying out Fox and Fox will no longer cease to exist. They're buying a lot of the Fox properties, and they're buying Fox and being able to have a say, and at least this is my understanding. You can comment below and let me know if I am a little off on that. But they're buying a lot of the properties in terms of the networks and the films or the TV shows and the films and Fox is it's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. It's an absolutely big deal. But it's sort of a wait and see. It's scary at first. Change is always scary. Do I think they're going to Disney-fy things? No, not necessarily. Do I think that, Deadpool is suddenly going to be, rated G? No, I don't believe that. But I think there are things that Disney sees the potentiality of, certain properties and shows that they might be able to make better. And look, say what you want about Disney, but Disney, you can't argue the fact that yes, they have Disney-fied certain things, 100%. But they've also made a lot of things really awesome and cool. I mean, we cannot forget that if it wasn't for, all of the Marvel films is essentially a Disney property, right? They're all Disney properties, and all you guys love those movies, right? So it's sort of, hit and miss, right? Sometimes they do really, really great things, and other times they do sort of things that you're like, why did they do that, right? So anyways, it's a long-winded answer, but I think it's too early to tell, but it will be interesting to see what happens. I'm more interested in actually seeing what happens with Netflix, not that they're owned by Fox, they're not, when Disney launches their streaming service, what Netflix is going to do. Are they going to continue to stream movies, or are they because now they're on the verge of becoming a huge player in the studio system, releasing original content. That's what they do now. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the, foreseeable future, Netflix is a huge player right alongside Paramount, Warner Brothers, Universal. They're not quite there yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. That I'm really excited and really interested to sort of see where that goes. Okay. Boy, I'm long-winded, but I'm thorough. I'm fucking thorough, folks. All right. Are you all, this is Warren and ts.box. Am I saying that right? I'm probably going to butcher a lot of your names, folks, so I apologize. Are you always going on about your age? How old am I? Am I always going on about my age, and how old am I? Am I always going on about your... No, I have no idea how old you are. I have no idea. Anyway, Tiger Man, why didn't they ever get the rights to use the William Shatner mask? Probably because at the time it was way too expensive. If you're talking about when they made the original Halloween, well, yeah, I mean, they're shooting on a budget of $320,000. They would not have the rights to go out and buy, the rights to use that mask, and it was irrelevant anyway because they changed it and they, cut it and painted it and all that kind of stuff. So you didn't know it was a William Shatner mask until you needed to know it was a William Shatner mask. Nobody knew it was a Shatner mask, when the original film came out. And I don't even think people knew it was a William Shatner mask at the end of Halloween 2. This kind of stuff only came to the forefront sort of in the late 80s, early 90s, when people were wondering why the mask looked so different. Then it sort of came out, well, that's because what we used before was a William Shatner mask and yada, yada, yada. But at the time, especially with the first film, nobody knew it was a Shatner mask. Certainly not the public did. Not to my knowledge, anyway. Okay. Again, if I don't answer your questions, it's nothing personal. I'm just trying to, go along. And if I see some questions that are repeated, I try to move along because I've already answered them. Okay. So again, it's not personal. It's not because I think you're a dick or, or something like that. Not at all. Although maybe you are a dick. I don't know. Okay. Dave, do you prefer Halloween H2O or Halloween 5? Well, funny enough, if I had to pick one, I would probably say Halloween 5, even though I think it is as I've said before, it is a fucking shit show, and it is the worst in the franchise. It is the catalyst that destroyed the franchise. I would probably choose 5 because I enjoy watching Donald Pleasance, and I enjoy that part of Halloween, so there's some nostalgia there. H2O is it's too a reflection of the mid-90s horror craze, right? You had Scream, you had I Know What You Did Last Summer, you had Urban Legend, you had, there was a horror resurgence in the mid-90s, and Halloween, even though Jamie Lee Curtis was back, and that was a nice sort of thing to do, it didn't feel like a Halloween film. Now, for some of you might have grown up with that film, so there's a lot of emotional attachment to it for you, and that's great. There's none for me. I did see it in the theater because I worked at a movie theater at the time, and I did see it. I think I saw it more than once, actually, but I never really liked it. I I like that I was able to see a Halloween movie in the theater, but I thought it was garbage. I mean, it was like Michael Myers walked onto the set of Dawson's Creek. I mean, it was just, yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. Okay, so hang on, I'm just gonna move myself over here so I can look at these more closely. Did you see? This is I'm gonna butcher this. Waynel Womar. I don't know. Did you see Insidious: The Last Key? No, I have not seen that yet. Silence 505. Oh, he's talking to Womar. Green Arrow. I love Halloween. I'm glad you do. Crystal Morrison. Dave, what do you think about Michael Myers getting his own game like Friday the 13th? I think that would be great, and I think it's going to come. I think if you give if you give Jason his own game, and I even think, isn't there a Freddy one now too, or they're working on one or something? It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I would like to see those games though come to like the consoles. I would love to, to see those games come to like PS4, Xbox One. That's what I would love to see, because then you can really fucking hammer home the, and have like a story out of it, like full on take use of like Haddonfield, where you're like the cop and you get to drive around, and you get to go to, inside, like it's like open world, kind of like GTA 5 or all of the GTA games, but it's Haddonfield and you're searching for Myers, and you can play like, you can be like Pleasance, or you can be Sheriff Brackett, or you can be Laurie, or you can be Myers. You know what I mean? That would be cool. That would be cool. We'll see if they do it. I doubt it. Dealy D. Scrolling down here, folks. Great to see everybody here. 62 people. Thanks for joining me on this, I was going to say July. I don't know. January 7th, 2018. Dave, what do you think about the Quiet Place trailer? Is that the Quiet Place? Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'll say. Yeah. Hey, it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good movie, but I was like, yeah. That honestly, that was my reaction. Okay, let's see here. Iron Claw 30. Ever listen to Jim Croak music? Jim Croak, is that how you say it? Croak? No, I don't actually. I don't. I'm just scrolling back here, see if I don't miss anybody. I'm glad you guys are talking amongst yourselves as well. I think that's great. Bran Hall, did you watch Insidious: The Last Key? I already answered that, Bran. The answer is no. I have not seen Insidious: The Last Key. It's pronounced different. That's probably to me. Well, there you have it. That goes to show you I don't listen to him. This is great stuff, guys. I'm glad you guys are talking amongst yourselves, and you're also asking questions. This is great. 1984, Marmo asks, did you enjoy Get Out? I did enjoy Get Out. I thought it was a good movie, but somebody said to me the other day they thought it was overrated. I don't want to say it's overrated, because that makes it sound like I'm saying it's not worthy of the praise that it got. I think it is worthy of the praise that it got to a point. I was unaware that there was a very sort of, and on purpose, a very sort of racial, I don't want to say undertone, because it's not really undertone. It's above tone. I mean, it's right there. It's very blatant for people to see. And I was unaware of that going into it. So it sort of threw me off a bit, and it took me out of it. I was hoping that it wouldn't get too preachy, and it didn't, which I was satisfied with seeing. But it was very clear that the filmmakers had sort of a message to convey, and that's fair, and that's fine, and that's totally cool. I'm fine with that. But they rode the line, because it could have become very preachy and sort of pretentious very quickly. And it didn't. So I was happy to see that. So it's the kind of movie that I think I'll have to watch again now, knowing that angle of the film, because I might appreciate it a bit more. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was all right. I think the ending could have been stronger. There's a few things that I might have done a bit differently to really hammer it home. But for the most part, I was thoroughly invested in the film. Yeah, I thought it was okay. I don't know if it was the best film of the year, but I thought it was all right. I thought it was good. Yeah, solid. Okay. Yeah, Julia, since you skipped my question, can you at least say shit show? Shit show! Fucking shit show! There you go, buddy. Sorry if I skipped your question. Again, it's nothing personal. I'm just, as you can imagine, trying to get to everybody's question. And, I feel since you guys are tuning in, it's only fair for me to be as thorough as possible. I don't want to be too thorough because then, of course, it takes a lot of time. But you guys have taken the time to tune in. I don't want to give you half-ass answers, right? So at least I think I owe you guys that. Okay, Michael Voorhees fan, 1982. Dave, who made your Meyers masks? You're referring to the one back over there. That's a combination of a couple of artists. That there is an MMK AHG. AHG stands for All Hallows Ghost. And I believe his real name is Mike somebody. And he's been making the Halloween masks for years. And if you're a part of the michaelmyers.net fan community, or if you're part of the michaelmyers.net Facebook page, then you'll be familiar with, JC, James Carter, AHG, All Hallows Ghost, Freddie Lauper, I think it is. There's a bunch of independent mask guys who create these Meyers masks from the original Kirk molds, and that's why they look so amazing. And these are the kind of things you can't buy in stores. So you'll have to go there to see if you can buy them. Okay, what's your least... Sorry, this is Danielle Seeley writes, what's your least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street? My least favorite, probably Freddy's Dead would be my least favorite. Funny enough, it probably goes in that order. It probably goes Freddy's Dead, followed by the Dream Child, followed by the Dream Master. They got progressively... they're not... Well, Freddy's Dead is a fucking shit show. Okay? It's a fucking shit show. Dream Master and Dream Child, there's moments that I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and this is... But the thing that I didn't like about where they took Freddy was... It didn't really become about Freddy so much anymore. It more became about what sort of sensationalized dream sequence can we conjure up with crazy sets and crazy moments. Freddy was... I don't know if this is a statistical fact based on time, but Freddy seemed to me, at least, when I was watching them, and I watched all of them prior to Halloween because I picked them all up on Blu-ray, the Dream Child, Freddy didn't seem to be in the Dream Child that much. He was in it, but not nearly as much as he was in it in Dream Master, Dream Warriors and so forth. And it became just more about these crazy dream sequences. If you were to... Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you were to remove Freddy from Dream Master... Dream Child. Well, you probably could remove him from Dream Master as well. It just becomes this really, it still would be a pretty fucked up, weird movie because the star of the movie is no longer Freddy. It becomes more about the dream sequences and the surrealism of all that. So I kind of like Freddy. That's what I really liked about the first film, is that the dream sequences were sort of more on par of what you would dream. More realistic and grounded, and Freddy was a big part of that. So anyways, that's my long-winded answer to that question. Dave, N.O. says, do you enjoy home invasion movies? I do if they're done well. I actually just watched Don't Breathe about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, for the first time, and I really enjoyed that film because that was a film. I don't think it's incredible, but I think it's solid. I think it's a solid film. I think it's good, and the reason is because, again, that's a movie that could become very predictable very quickly. I sort of knew the guy that got shot in the kitchen. I forget his name now. I kind of knew that he was expendable and that he was probably going to meet his demise fairly quickly just because of how they set up his character and the relationship to the other two characters involved. But I was really glad to see the other guy get shot as well. Not until the end of the film, but I was glad to see that because that's probably what would happen. And it became sort of much more realistic and grounded in that sense. And nothing was overly sensational. Nothing was overly, contrived. And so for the most part, I was sort of waiting for that moment to happen where it was kind of like, but it didn't. and I enjoyed it. It's a movie that does not need a sequel. I hear that they are going to make a sequel. It's already in development. I don't think it's hit pre-production yet, but you don't need it. It's fine the way it is. It ended perfectly, and you know she will go on for the rest of her life always wondering if that guy is going to out her or come for her. And that's the way you need to end it. That's it. Leave it to her own imagination. You don't need to make a sequel. Not at all. Okay, let's see here, guys. Dave, what is your opinion about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Garbage. I just want to get to some people who I don't think I've answered yet. Heisenberg254 says, what do you think of the Punisher Netflix series if you saw it? I have not seen it. I have not seen it. For those of you who follow me, you know I'm not big on the superhero genre. I like your staples, like, you know, your Batman, your Spider-Man, your Superman. I'll always go and see those films. But I'm not emotionally invested into the superhero genre like a lot of you are. It's not personal. It's not that I don't hate it. It's just, you know, some people are invested in it and some people aren't. My buddy Bruce, though, he's really emotionally invested in it. And so he always sort of brings me up to speed on what's going on. Okay. Any good restaurants I can recommend in Montreal? No idea. I haven't been to Montreal in probably 20 years, so I'm not entirely sure. But you could Google it. It's Thad says, Dave, do you think an LGBT plus person could lead a horror film? Will we see it in our time? How do you feel about Final Guys versus Final Girls? Well, Final Guys versus Final Girls, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about there. I don't know. Do I think we could see an LGBTQ person? Okay, look, here's my stance on that. Sure, yeah, if it's appropriate to the narrative. I don't want stories to be told in pretentious sort of hidden agenda sort of ways. If it fits the story, great. If it doesn't, if it's irrelevant, I don't care. I don't care if the main actor is gay, straight, bisexual, black, white, Asian, tall, fat, short, slim. I don't care. I want a good story. That's what I want. And then you write, you cast the right person for the role, and that's what it's all about for me. So if the right person is somebody who is gay or bisexual or transgender or whatever the case is, great. But if you're just casting them to sort of, make a point, we can see through that. And then it becomes a distraction and it becomes lame and pretentious and condescending. And I don't want that. So those are my thoughts on it. Okay. Okay. This is Akron Aardvark says, what your least favorite Friday the 13th movie? Mine is Part 9. Probably Jason Goes to Hell. That was I watched that for the first time when I was like 12, and I was like, what the hell is this? My God. I mean, those of you who have seen Jason Goes to Hell knows what I'm talking about. All right, let's see here. Sorry, guys, again, if I don't answer them, it's nothing personal. I'm just trying to move along here. Let's see if I can go back here. Julian Salgado says, did the original Exorcist, Linda Blair, scare you as a kid? I didn't see The Exorcist, actually, believe it or not. I didn't see The Exorcist until I was about 17 years old. And that's 21 years ago now. So, but I do remember when I watched it, I really thought it was a good movie, and it was creepy and it was eerie, but I love the mood and the atmosphere and the pacing of The Exorcist. I mean, Linda Blair's performance, the makeup job, the fuck me, the head turning and the throwing up and okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, that's all great stuff, but the lead up to that, the anticipation to to the climax of that moment, seeing her change over the course of the film, you know, the spider walk down the stairs, the peeing, you know, on the floor when when her mom's, you know, friends are all there. I mean, all that stuff, that anticipation, that lead up, that something weird is happening. That's my favorite part of The Exorcist. It's just, it's a well-paced horror film. Very moody. Let me see here. Joshua Frusto, I think I'm saying that. Dave, are you a big fan of Star Wars? And if so, which movie? I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. You're not familiar with my channel, are you? I am a huge fan of Star Wars. If so, which movie do you like? Well, my favorite is The Empire Strikes Back. I know that sounds like a cliche. Everybody's favorite is The Empire Strikes Back, but there's reasons for that. I mean, there's reasons for it which could take a long time to go into here, but that would be my favorite. Dave, okay, let me see here again, folks. Again, if I don't answer your question, it's not personal, just trying to move on to see if I can get some questions I haven't answered and from people I haven't answered from yet. Okay, Goofy Vlogs, Johnny White says, Dave, do you think practical effects in horror are lacking? Horror has so many subgenres. Do I think they're lacking? I think practical effects in films overall are lacking to some degree. But I think nowadays to say that we should go back to just only practical effects, I think that's problematic. I think to do everything in CG is problematic. I think you have to find a nice balance between the two. To be able to tell grand stories today, in this day and age, computer generated effects are a reality, but to be able to mix them in with practical effects, I think is the way to go. Horror movies, yes, I think we are. I think, but it depends on the horror film. Yeah, I'd have to think about that a little more and think of some examples. But but I can say I think the key is a balance between both. So I actually don't know the difference. That's the key. And that's an art that is very, very rarely achieved. Okay, Jake V says, how did you like the new It movie? Well, I did a little review on that, but that was sort of before my channel took off a little bit. I enjoyed it. I liked it, the new incarnation, but I wanted to see a darker, scarier film. I wanted the new It to be really dark, really scary, from a psychological perspective. I wanted to leave the theater thinking to myself, that was fucking intense. And for me, it was scary, but it was more of a haunted house fun ride scary. Like, you're scared, but you know you're going to come out okay. And I didn't want to see that. Like, I wanted to see the tonality like a movie like Seven. I don't mean the narrative, obviously, it's a completely different film, but the tone of Seven, how serious Seven is, how fucking shit just got real in that film, that's what I wanted to feel and see with It. Because if you've read the novel, the It novel is fucking dark. Like, it is now. Is the new It film darker than the 1990 miniseries? Yes, absolutely. Is it more on par with the book than that movie? Yes, absolutely. Are there things that are on par with the book? Yes, absolutely. But I still think it could have been darker and more intense. For me, it was too much of a Goonies meets, Stranger Things. It was too fun-housey at certain moments for me, although for what it was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I thought it was solid. But if I was making it, I would have gone really dark. I would have wanted to go really dark. Whether they would have allowed me to or not, I don't know. Okay, let me see here. Just looking for people that haven't asked any questions yet, guys. Just scrolling back, or people I have yet to answer, because I want to be fair. And sometimes I don't get to everybody. It's great to see that we have 60 people tuning in. That's great. 1984, Marmo says, are you a fan of Child's Play? I love the first Child's Play. Chucky was scary. Yes, he cracked a few one-liners, but he was scary. I am not a huge fan of the Chucky series overall, and that's primarily because Chucky became like Freddy, sort of. It wasn't scary, it was just silly and corny for me. The original Child's Play was scary. It was creepy, and he was scary, and I enjoyed that. I actually, to be honest with you, I've only seen Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. I haven't seen any of the others because I've lost interest. I'm very picky when it comes to horror, guys. I'm not somebody that is going to just watch a horror movie because it's a horror movie. I'm very picky when it comes to horror. I am a very difficult person to please because I have standards. And my standards are, you have to deliver something that is going to get inside my head. It's very easy to create something that's gross or funny or to follow a trend and to do what everybody else is doing. But when you focus on what truly scares us, how to get into the minds of the human psyche, to understand the human experience and how we all experience fear in similar ways, like I mentioned in a video that I posted a few months back about what is truly scary about horror films, then you've set yourself up now that you're on the right path to deliver something really special. Now, of course, you have to write a story around that. You can still fail. But when you're just doing what everybody else is doing and capitalizing on what everybody else is doing, I don't run out to see films just because it's a horror film. And usually I can tell from a trailer whether or not this is something I want to invest my time in. Okay. This is a good question. And now, is it Jane? Is it J? It's JNROS. J Neuros? Is the J silent? If it is, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. But he says, Dave, what do you think of the Slender Man movie? What do you think the Slender Man movie will be like? Well, I watched the trailer, and it's got a lot of really good mood. And again, you can never judge a movie by its trailer, just like you can't judge a book by its cover. But a trailer is a bit different than a book by its cover because a trailer is giving you insight into the narrative. A cover on a book is not. A cover on the book is just fancy art. The real equivalent would be don't judge a DVD box cover art, don't judge a movie by its cover art on a DVD box. That would sort of be the more fair comparison. Whereas, judging a trailer, no, I think you can. I think you have to take it with a grain of salt, but I think you can get a good idea of tonality and mood and atmosphere from a trailer on how it's cut. The Slender Man movie looks like it's going to be a standard 2018 horror film where I will watch it and there will be probably some moments I enjoy. Oh, that's a nice shot. I like that moment. I like that scene, but overall it's not going to stand out and, stand the test of time as one of the great horror films that get into you psychologically. I don't know much about the movie, but Slender Man for me should be more psychological than practical. And it shouldn't really be about a physical entity that is actually manifesting itself there. For me, it should be more about the psychological aspects of Slender Man, of what that means, of people thinking they see him. Do they really see him? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And shit begins to go down, shit starts to happen, but nobody knows if it's Slender Man or if it's these people doing it to themselves. See, that's a movie that intrigues me. That's a psychological element that can get inside your head rather than a real practical physical manifestation of an entity known as Slender Man. It's like, because then you run the risk of just becoming paranormal and you don't stand out. You don't get in here, and that's what I am looking for. So that's all I got to say about that. Forrest Gump, folks. I'm gonna drink some water because I'm talking a lot, and you need some water, folks. Okay. Bernie Madow says, any more news on the new Halloween? Not that I know of. They're supposed to be shooting beginning the middle of this month, so that would be next week. But no news has dropped yet regarding the new Halloween, other than Nick Castle's casting right before. It was before Christmas? Just before Christmas, I think. Let me see here. I'm going to scroll down. Okay. It's great to see you guys talking amongst yourselves as well. Okay, let me see here. Sorry, I'm going back to make sure I don't answer same sort of questions. Dave, did you see House back in the 80s? Yes, I loved House. House is one of my favorite horror movies, if you will. It's not really a horror movie, really. It's more of a horror comedy. Yeah, I loved House. If I keep doing this with my glasses, because they keep falling off, I need to get them adjusted. I'm supposed to be getting new ones next month, actually, so that'll probably help. So I'm sorry if this is really annoying if I'm doing this every 5 seconds. Yeah, I loved House. House was great. George Wendt. I mean, come on. Yeah, one of my favorite films from that time period, and it still holds up. Like, the practical effects are still really good. Like, they're good. It's, if you have not seen House, 1985 or 86, I think, just IMDb House from the 80s, and I highly recommend it. It's a fun movie to watch, and if you guys love that kind of shit, then I recommend it for sure. Okay, 1986. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was around that time. It's Thad says, did you see The Witch? The Witch. What did you think? I actually enjoyed The Witch. My buddy Bruce saw it, and he actually wasn't a huge fan of it. He turned it off about halfway through. I was able to watch the whole thing. I thought it was good. There's a few things that I think they could have expanded on. I think there was some missed opportunities that I wanted to see some things sort of play out a bit more. I thought they played it a little too safe with certain moments. But overall, I thought it was good. It's my kind of horror film. The psychological component grounds it in reality, because then it becomes more relatable in terms of the unknown and what we think we see and what we think we hear, and we all experience that relatively the same way. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought it was good. I was happy that I had watched it. John Black 2345 says, have you played or seen Friday the 13th, the game? I've seen it. I have not played it. Or I might have played the demo. When it was in demo phase, I might have played like a few moments of it, I think. I can't remember. But I certainly haven't like actually played the game. What is your favorite 80s, 90s sitcom theme song? Oh, that's really good. My favorite 80s sitcom theme song, I love Three's Company's theme, even though that's considered a 70s sitcom. It did go into the 80s. It ended in 1984. Yeah, I like Three's Company. Now we're talking about sitcoms, so Mr. Belvedere was really good. Growing Pains, Cosby Show was always sort of fun. Yeah, 90s sitcom, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Who doesn't like that song? Scrolling here. It's great to see you guys here. I hope you guys had a great New Year's, and you're off to a great start in 2018. Of course, we're only, a week in. Justin Champa says, who's your favorite Canadian band and why is it Rush? I actually don't like Rush. I'm not a huge fan of Rush at all. My favorite Canadian band, I don't know. I'm very funny with music. I don't follow bands. I'll give you an example. If Coldplay was to release a song that's really good and it resonates with me and I like it, I'll listen to it. If Shania Twain was to, release a song that I like and I can, kind of bop to it in my car. And I'm like, yeah, this is all right. This is pretty good. I'll listen to it. I'll throw it on a CD. The only band that I follow and that I actually followed throughout my life was actually AC/DC. And they're not really relevant too much anymore, but that was a band that I sort of followed and knew what they were doing, what was current. But right now I don't really follow any bands or singers. If it's a good piece of music and I like it, I don't care if it's rap, hip hop, reggae, pop, top 40, alternative, whatever, man. If it's good, if I think it's good and I can find something about it that I really like, I'll listen to it. Dealy dee. Gary Walker says, who is your favorite Canadian wrestler? Canadian wrestler. I mean, I know, there's Bret the Hitman Hart and shit. And, okay, him, I guess. I mean, I haven't followed wrestling in years, so I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. No, that's not true. I'll say Edge. I think he's Canadian. Yeah, because a buddy of mine in the voiceover community went to college with Edge. And I think he's Canadian, right? Yeah, I think so. And they're good friends. So I'll say that just to give a shout out to my voiceover pal, Mike Pongratz. There you go. Okay. Opinion on H6 producer's cut. I mean, it gives a little more context to sort of what's going on, but at the end of the fucking day, it's still the same movie. Okay? It's not like it ends completely differently. Okay? I mean, it gives a little more meaning, a little more nuance, and a little more, oh, okay. But at the end of the day, it's not like I'm watching a completely different film. It's still the same fucking movie. Okay, Heisenberg 254, do you think this is Halloween's last attempt to revive the series, and if it does well, it will resurrect the slasher genre? I don't think it. Oh, yeah, that's a loaded question, folks. It's funny. I mean, look, what I can tell you is this: if the movie does well at the box office and critically, but more so at the box office because that's really what matters. A movie can make, if Halloween, and I don't know what the budget is, I'm guessing it's going to be a few videos back, no, I'm going to say a few months back, I said I'm guessing between 5 and 10 million because that's usually the budget that Blumhouse plays with, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went high as 20 to 30 million. But I don't think it's going to go higher than that. I think the ballpark is going to be between 5 and 15 mil, somewhere in there. Look, if this movie makes 60 million at the box office, but the critics pan it, they'll probably make another one. If it makes 100 million, you're laughing worldwide. If it makes 60 domestic and 40, overseas, and remember, domestic also means Canada as well. So if it makes 60 between Canada and the US and 40 overseas, yeah, I think they'll make another one. Even if it gets, 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think they'll make another one. Because that's really what matters, is are your ass in the seats? It's still too early to tell. I will have a better prognosis on the probability on whether this movie is going to be a success and if they're doing all the right things when they actually start moving into production and we start getting more details on the story, the locations, the characters, and sort of what's happening with that. Right now, it's still too early to tell whether it will have any effect or just be a fly on the wall that you don't even see. Okay. Ironclaw 30 says, favorite stand-up comedian. That's tough. I'd have to think about that one. There's a lot of good people out there that are funny. What do we got here? This is good. Fussy Nielsen says, what inspired you to pursue filmmaking? And you're a very talented one at that. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I certainly haven't made a blockbuster feature film yet, but I appreciate that you like what I have produced on the filmmaking side of my career. What inspired me? I like being able to create and see things come to I like being able to have an idea and a story, and being able to make that story and idea a reality. And that's just not indicative of filmmaking. I mean, that could be, interior designing. It could be painting. It could be, it could be any artistic medium. Having an idea and a vision and being able to see it come to life is great. I'm actually in the middle right now, and I have been for some years. I'm in the middle of working on a screenplay, a full-length feature film that is based on true events from my second year of college in the mystery, thriller, supernatural genre. And I've been working on it for years, and I've been working on the script for a long time, and I'm in the middle of polishing that and tweaking it. And it's not a horror movie. It's not a blood, guts, and gore film. It's a very sort of intelligent, at least I'm hoping, it would be a very sort of intelligent mystery thriller. And that's all I'll say right now on that. But when the screenplay is done, you'll know more about it as time goes on. But it's a film that will require a substantial budget. Let's see here. You guys are doing great with these questions. I like this. Ask any questions you want. It doesn't have to be horror related. You guys want to know about Star Wars. You guys want to know about, I don't know, anything. I just don't want to get too stale with the questions that I'm answering. Okay. Are you into Family Guy? Yes, I love Family Guy. My girlfriend, not so much. But I'm a huge fan of Family Guy. Ironclaw 30, fan of the Rocky movies. Yes. Love yes, I like the Rocky movies. I like some more than others, but yeah, I enjoy it. What's your favorite food? Too many, this is coming from Randy Meyers. Too many to name, but I have to say I enjoy a good pizza. David X says, do you have any on-screen Halloween memorabilia? No, I don't have any on-screen Halloween memorabilia. I have Halloween memorabilia, as you can see behind me, but nothing on screen in terms that was used in the film. Okay, let's go back here, just making sure I don't miss anything, guys. This is great. We're coming up to 7:57 here, so we're almost an hour into this. It's nice to see that we got still 53 people who have tuned in. I appreciate that. What's your favorite Rocky movie? Least favorite? My favorite is, I think my favorite is probably everybody's favorite, but it's not my favorite because it's the best film. I don't think it's the best film. Rocky IV is my favorite, just because of the awesomeness that it is, and the us versus them, and the redemption, and that, we all can relate to it. We all live vicariously through Rocky in that film. Not because we're all dealing with, the Russians, although that's a little more prevalent today than I guess it ever has been since then. But we're all dealing with somebody in our lives, or we've all dealt with somebody in our lives who we would love to get, redemption against, right? And I think we live vicariously through the redemption, revenge sort of aspect of Rocky IV, which makes it just so cool. And it's kind of like a David and Goliath sort of thing, right? And we live vicariously through that. It touches us on a very sort of personal, there's reasons for it. There's there's psychological reasons why we all really resonate with Rocky IV a lot. The best Rocky film, though, is the first one. It's like how I say my favorite Indiana Jones movie is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That is my favorite Indiana Jones film because it's crazy. It's like one action sequence, right after another. It's absurd. It's hilarious. It's sensational. It's just like, what the fuck every 5 minutes. And it's just a shitload of fun, and it's the darkest. But I don't think it's the best Indiana Jones movie. I think that movie belongs to Raiders. Okay, favorite Iron Claw. You got some great questions, Iron Claw. Favorite mobster movie. I would have to say, probably Goodfellas. I like Goodfellas. Who doesn't, right? That's a good movie too. Yeah, I like Goodfellas. Tiger Man says, "What's better, T1 or T2?" What's better? Well, I think people are likely to say T2 because of the visual aesthetic. But I actually think Terminator 1, if you watch Terminator 1 again, it's a good film. I think they're both really solid, and I don't even think they needed to make another Terminator movie after that. I saw Terminator 3 in the theater, and I don't mind Terminator 3 as much as a lot of people do. It's far inferior to Terminator 1 and 2, but I actually don't mind it as much as some people. But I don't think they needed to make another one. I really don't. Do you like Wrong? Benji GTA 5 says, "Do you like Wrong Turn?" I haven't seen that movie in years, and I don't know if I liked it or not. That's a great question. I don't know. Rogue Reaper says, "Which do you prefer, Alien or The Thing?" Alien or The Thing? Well, the first Alien is great. Aliens is great. The Thing, I don't know. Maybe Alien. I haven't watched them in years, so it's the kind of thing where it's like, I'm just going, based on what I remember. I'd have to watch them again. Let's go down here. Okay. No. N.O. says, "No. Do you like the Jurassic Park movies?" Yeah, I like the first Jurassic Park. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one, although I thought it had moments, The Lost World. I didn't mind Jurassic Park 3. And to this day, I have yet to see Jurassic World. I know that may come as a surprise to some of you, but I haven't seen Jurassic World because I know what I'm going to get from it. I'm going to get a very entertaining, fun, visually satisfying roller coaster ride. And that's it. It's not going to make me think about things or, think about it's not going to make me think about the ramifications of the probability of doing something like that the way Jurassic World did. The way Jurassic Park did. And that's why we don't need a Jurassic World. That's why we didn't need a Jurassic World, and we don't need a Jurassic World 2. And that's why we didn't really need the Lost World Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park had a message, and it had a moral. And at the end of the movie, it's very evident on what that moral is. And I know that's not a very exciting answer, and maybe not the one that you're looking for. And it's not to say that Jurassic World doesn't have its own moral. But what next? Now we have Jurassic World 2 with volcanoes, and now they're just making up dinosaurs. That's not exciting to me. I don't find that exciting. Making up hybrid dinosaurs that never actually existed. No, I want to see shit that was real. I want to look at the screen and go, fuck, wow, imagine that. Imagine that actually walked the earth. That was actually there. Holy shit. I don't want to see shit that's like, yeah, that was never there. That's just a hybrid. Now it's just becoming, it's becoming what it is. It's becoming what it is. Okay. I agree. Rogue Reaper, first one, still holds up. I agree. It holds up not just because of the effects, although the effects, there's some effects that are like, but it does. It holds up, but it holds up because of the story. Stories will always hold up over effects. I can watch a dated film that has dated special effects, but the story is rich and... look at Star Wars, guys, okay? Come on, okay? The original trilogy, or let's take A New Hope. There's some things in there that it's pretty dated, right? Let's not be afraid to say it. It's pretty corny, pretty dated, but the story holds up. And we'll always go back and watch stories that hold up over effects, because you can look past that because the story is so rich. Okay, Dooku Scrub. Hey, Dave, could you rank all the Michael Myers masks from best to worst? Did you already answer this one? I did not. Could I rank them from best to worst? Well, contrary to popular belief, the mask used in Halloween 2 is actually not different from the mask used in the original. It is the same mask. It just looks different because of the wear and tear that it got living in a box under Deborah Hill's bed for 2 years, 3 years. And it looks different on Dick Warlock's face because his face is wider and more round than Nick Castle's face. So that actually is the same mask, literally. So if we're going to talk about looks, I like the look of the original mask. The way it looked in 1978's Halloween. And then I would probably go with Dick Warlock. I thought that looked good too. And the reason why, though, I go is because because it is the same mask for all intents and purposes. There are moments and shots and scenes within Halloween 2 where you get Halloween 1's vibe because it is the same mask. So depending on the lighting, depending on the angle, right, depending on the scene, it can look very Nick Castle-esque, okay? Even though it's Dick Warlock, it has that Nick Castle-esque moment because it is the same mask. So that's probably why I like Halloween 2's mask next, even though it is the same mask. Other than that, I mean, 5 was garbage, 4 was garbage, although I would take 4 over 5, as crazy as that sounds. 6 was garbage. H2O was garbage. I mean, I know that's not what a lot of you fans want to hear, and if you love those masks, that's okay. I'm not here to say that you shouldn't, but I'm not here to coddle you and just confirm what you love, right? I'm here to be honest about what I think, and I think those masks are... I don't think there was any reason to not at least mimic Shatner's mask as closely as you could without going too far and running into legalities. I mean, Halloween 5's mask looks nothing like the original mask. Halloween 6, nothing. It's like they just created a white mask that had a face. And yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I think it's garbage. All garbage. Okay, on we go. What's your opinion? Wayne Warmer asks, what's your opinion on Black Christmas? Love it. Black Christmas is, for those of you who don't know, is a Canadian film shot right here in Toronto. I love Black Christmas. I watched it recently again, actually, not too long ago. And it holds up. It's dated, of course, right? But it holds up because it focuses on mood and atmosphere and gets in here. If you guys want to make a horror movie, get in here. Okay, the rest will follow. Don't worry about, the blood and the guts and the gore and then, and the sensationalism. The less you show, the more you get in here, the better movie you're going to have. The Shape 1978 says, Dave, have you seen The Room? I have not seen The Room. No, I have not, actually. I've yet to see it. I have to see it. It's on the list. We go here. Dave, do you watch maybe I didn't. Do you watch Godzilla movies? Yes, I do. When I was a kid, I was a huge Godzilla fan, and my dad actually took me to the theater to see Godzilla 1985, which was the American release of Godzilla 1984, which was the 30th anniversary of the original Godzilla, of course, which came out in 1954 in Japan. But the 1984 version was released in America and in Canada, titled Godzilla 1985, and of course all of the dialogue was dubbed in English, and of course Raymond Burr, you know the story. That's my favorite Godzilla movie today. I love that movie. Yeah, because there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it, of course, but I think Godzilla looks great in that movie. Daniel Seeley asks, what do you think of Jaws 3? Come on. Garbage. Again, I'm just scrolling to make sure that I don't miss anything. David Coe says, Dave, have you ever watched Star Wars at the Symphony? I have not. They have that in San Diego. Do they have that in Toronto? If you should go. Maybe you asked me this. For some reason, this question sounds familiar from a long time ago. I have not, but I will put it on the list if they ever come to Toronto or somewhere close by, I will certainly highly consider that, because I would love to see it in person. Absolutely, 100%. Okay, what do we got here? Christopher Wynn asks, will Creed 2 work with Ivan Drago's return? I don't know. I think it could, as long as it doesn't focus on his... I believe Sylvester Stallone wrote the script, which is actually a good thing. Sylvester Stallone, I don't believe he gets the credit that he deserves. I think he's a far more talented actor than people give him credit for. I also think he's a far more talented director and writer than people give him credit for in terms of the genre that we're talking about. You know, the Rocky redemption, you know, action type movies. He's lived a life of redemption himself. I mean, Rocky, let's not forget, he wrote that film as sort of about himself. About him finding... It's not exactly about him, but the point I'm trying to make is that he wrote that at a time when he was in a position that Rocky was, down on his luck. You know, I mean, he had to sell his dog, for God's sakes, just to eat. So he's very good at writing about redemption and coming to finding yourself and your dreams and your aspirations, and he's good at writing that shit. So he's written the sequel to Creed. He was going to direct it. He's not going to now. I think this could be a very good sequel. I like the idea of the parallels of Ivan Drago coming back and maybe it being Drago's son. As long as the focus is still on Creed and Drago's son, it could be a fun movie to watch, and maybe a pretty good movie. As long as Rocky and Drago take a back seat. I don't want this film to focus on their relationship, okay? I want it to take a back seat. Maybe they become buddies, right? Maybe that, okay, cool. But this isn't, Rocky 7. That's done now, okay? So as long as it focuses on Creed's story and continues his story, that's the focus of the narrative, I'm okay with it. I think that answered your question. Long-winded, I know. When you talk for an hour and a bit, you tend to be long-winded. I'm long-winded anyway. Who the fuck gives a shit? Anyway, so, okay, let's go back here. Ironclaw 30 says, favorite Jim Carrey film? I'm going to go classic. I'm going to say probably Bruce Almighty. No, I'm going to say Ace Ventura, the first one, and Bruce Almighty. Those are my favorite two, I'd say. Classic for Ace Ventura, and some could argue that Bruce Almighty, which was 2003, okay, that's a long time ago now, is arguably his last really funny movie. Poor Jim Carrey, man. He's going through a rough time right now. Better ending, H2O or Halloween 4? It's not even a question. Halloween 4 has a better ending than H2O. Just scrolling back, guys. Just making sure I answer some questions that I haven't answered already. Making sure everybody's doing okay. I'm glad you guys had a... Real Deal Studios says, what's up, Real Deal Studios? Good to see you guys here. Taking some questions. I'm glad you guys tuned in. This is a great way to kick off 2018. Funny Nielsen, I think I'm saying that right, says Bill and Ted Part 3. Sure, why not? They're bringing back everything else. Sure. Christopher Rodriguez says, any advice of someone who wants to write a script? That's a loaded question. Understand that the most important thing about a film is a story. That is your foundation to everything. Okay? You have to think of it like a house. The most important element to a movie, if you're writing a script, is a story. That is your foundation. And you build from there. Okay? So you have to have a solid, coherent story. And also recognize that when you write your screenplay, it is very probable, maybe maybe not, but it's very probable that you may end up writing a script that's 150 or 200 pages long. That's far too long, but don't worry about it. That's your first draft, right? Put everything down. Write everything down that you think of, your ideas and your stories and your dialogue. And if it ends up being 200 pages, that's okay. Then from there, you start to narrow it down. You start to take things out that don't work, and you take out characters that don't work, and you weed things out. And you could go through 10 drafts before you have something that's between, say, 90 and 120 pages long, which is a standard motion picture script that you're happy with. But so my advice would be focus on story and take your time. Don't worry about rushing it, okay? Make sure you have something that's coherent and that's solid. And remember to always show, don't tell, okay? That's important. Google that and you'll find information on that. Real Deal Studio says, any tips on how to make a fan film? Any tips on how to make a fan film? Well, you're not specific enough. Be more specific. The Shape 1978 Dave, not including Nick Castle or Dick Warlock. Who's your favorite actor to play Michael Myers? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe George P. Wilbur, I guess. But his performance in Halloween 4, not Halloween 6. Sorry, I'm just trying to... Arkin Aardvark says, how would you rank the Texas Chainsaw movies? Oh, buddy, I seen the first one. I've seen the second one years ago. That's all I've seen. I did see the remake from 2003, I believe, the one with Jessica Biel. I saw that in the theater. I thought that was good. I thought that was a solid movie. I thought it was solid. And then, of course, they decided, instead of doing a sequel, they decided to do a prequel, which came out in like 2006 or something. And now no. That's what I have to say about that. Favorite Batman movie? Favorite Batman film? Is that what you're asking? I'd probably say, it's funny. I recently, when I say recently, I say within the last year, I watched the Dark Knight trilogy again. And I watched them back to back to back. And I have to say that I actually preferred Batman Begins to The Dark Knight. I like The Dark Knight. It's a solid film. I mean, you can't argue that it's not good. But I actually, on this time around, I actually preferred Batman Begins. I thought it was a better movie. So I'll say Batman Begins for now. Okay. William Long says, favorite Batman actor. Sorry for not clarifying. No worries. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Favorite Batman actor. I don't know. Christian Bale, maybe. But I'm just saying that because, yeah, sure. I guess I'll pick somebody. Rogue Reaper, your thoughts on Event Horizon? I haven't seen it I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in years, so I'd have to revisit it again. Benji GTA 5 says, do you believe in ghosts? Well, this is a loaded question for me because it sort of pertains to that feature script that I'm in the middle of writing and have been for years. I believe that I will answer it this way. Do I believe in ghosts? I will answer it like this. I believe that there is enough evidence, be it circumstantial, to ask the question, does consciousness survive the process of death? And I think there's enough evidence to suggest that it might. Do I believe in ghosts in the way that Hollywood portrays it? Woo! And floorboards moving and people being thrown out of windows, and we have no evidence of that. Do I believe that, consciousness could survive the process of death? Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that. Da da da. Christian Rodriguez says, what do you think of the slasher horror genre when they do crossovers like Freddy vs. Jason? Do you think it's a good idea? It's fan service. That's all it is. And I'm not a huge fan of it. I like, because it sort of waters down what you've... Yeah, I mean, the only one they've really done with any sort of prominence, of course, is Freddy versus Jason. But then it's kind of like, what are these two people doing in each other's universes? It's just fan service. That's all it is. It's fan service. It's not about making a really good movie. It's about what kind of cool things can we have Freddy versus Jason doing? I don't need to see it. If Freddy versus Jason didn't exist, for me, I'd be just as happy as I am now. GT Produki. I think I'm saying that right. Do you watch any other YouTubers? From time to time, I do, but I'm a very busy dude, so my time sometimes is limited. So there isn't somebody that I tune into on a regular basis all the time. I tend to tune into people when I feel like, oh, I should check them out, or I should see what they've been up to, or things like that. I know that's not really an exciting thing, but there isn't sort of a person that I always go to all the time. Excuse me. This is great, guys. 47 people still watching. This is good. This is good. This will go up on my YouTube channel afterwards, of course, so you guys will be able to watch it, not in real time, but you'll be able to go back and revisit it. Excuse me. Too much water. Rogue Reaper, thoughts on the movie Split? Yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm more happy for M. Night Shyamalan. I'm not a huge fan. I think he's, from what I've read, I think he can be a bit of a dick and a bit of a prick. I don't know the guy personally, obviously. I've never met him. I'm just going by what I've read, and from what I see, he can be a bit egotistical. I think he's jaded, and I think he's sort of... Yeah, I think he's jaded. I think he's spiteful, and I think he's upset and he's pissed where his career went. I think he bought into his own hype, especially after The Sixth Sense, and I think his career took a nosedive. And I think it was humbling for him. And now that he's gotten back to sort of his roots, doing low budget horror films that are sort of in his wheelhouse, I think he's in the right spot, and I think that's where he needs to be. So when I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, this is good. It didn't blow me away, but I thought it was all right. Like, I thought it was solid, and I was more happy for him, because I was like, this is where you need to be. Because if you play in this playground, you could potentially write I don't think Split will go down as a horror classic. I don't think that one with what's that one where the kids go to their grandmother's house, that one that he just did too. Comment section for me. What the hell is that one? Not the one he just did like 2 years ago. Throw it in the comments section for me if you think of it. The Visit. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Again, that was all right, right? That was all right. So, it wasn't great, but it was like, okay, he's starting to kind of go back to what he's good at. And I was more happy for him. So as long as he stays there. Of course, we have Glass coming out, which is a sequel to Unbreakable. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Christopher Wynn, will J.J. Abrams reckon all of The Last Jedi? Finally, a Star Wars Last Jedi question. We're only almost 90 minutes into this. Clearly, I know where my subscribers' interests lie. Listen, guys, if you liked The Last Jedi, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I was disappointed by it. Not because of some 40-year-old fanboy expectations that I had. I did have expectations, yes, but they weren't unfounded expectations. They came from what J.J. Abrams did and what he set up in The Force Awakens. They're not coming out of nowhere, okay? All the issues... Now, I can't speak to everybody. I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of the gripes that people have with The Last Jedi are not... they cannot be boiled down to just 40-year-old fanboys who were pissed off and didn't get what they wanted. That's not true. There are some fundamental things from a story and narrative perspective that were not met, that were not implemented, that from a pacing perspective as well, that a lot of people have issues with. And of course, you can go back and look at my videos as to some of those things that I had issues with. I think The Last Jedi, you know, there's a lot to like about it. There's a lot to like about it, but there's just as much to not like about it, and I think there's a lot of missed opportunities. I don't mean, you know, Luke had to be the savior, but there's a lot of missed opportunities that I don't think did justice to the character of Luke. You can still have him die if you want to. You can still have him die, you can still do all those things, and you can still have him as a... My problems were not that he was sort of this disgruntled hermit. You know, I liked that. I really enjoyed that. I'm talking about story, execution, and missed opportunities. And I think there was a bunch of missed opportunities. Anyways, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but for time's sake, I don't want to do that. I just want to say that The Last Jedi for me was a disappointment. Will J.J. Abrams reckon that? I don't know. I don't know, because for me, The Last Jedi ended weirdly. And as I mentioned before, Rey should have gone with Kylo Ren. Not necessarily turned to the dark side, but she should have gone with Ren. There should have been that uncertainty. What's going to happen? Oh my God, holy shit. You know, and get rid of Rose and get rid of the side thing with Canto Bight and have Finn now with Poe, and it's just the two of them, you know, trying to rebuild the resistance, and he has to sort of come to his own and grow up and become sort of, you know, somebody, you know, that's with the resistance and all this. Like, there's so many things that you could still have the same story, but if you make some character adjustments and just some story adjustments along the way in that third act, it just would have set it would have set it up so much better for episode 9, because right now, I don't know where you go. Where's the uncertainty? Where's the wonderment? Where's the mystique? J.J. Abrams has to create all of that in one movie. And even if Rey is tempted by the dark side of the Force, we know it's going to resolve itself by the end of the movie anyway. So I just think, I don't know. I've never felt this way before about any film. I was disappointed. Huge missed opportunities for me with The Last Jedi. Can J.J. fix it? I don't know, because I don't know what they're going to do. I fix it. I fix what? Fix. It's just a yeah. Anyway, I could go on and on. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, I could do a live thing on just Star Wars, The Last Jedi, what I think they did wrong overall, what I really enjoyed, and what I think, I mean, I've talked about it. Watch some of my other shit. Fuck. Okay, after The Last Jedi, are you still looking forward to episode 9? I personally don't think there's anything left to care about. I feel the same way, buddy. I do. I mean, I feel sort of like The Last Jedi ended the way the third act would. There's no mystery. There's no wonderment. There's no, oh, fuck, what's going to happen next? I mean, yeah, it's like, well, how are they going to build, you know, the rebellion? But those questions are not strong enough to ponder. If Rey had gone with Ren, if that uncertainty had been there, you know, and, you know, I mean, that, oh, fuck, what's going to happen? You know, and then you begin episode 9, like 3 years later, you know, and Rey is being trained by Ren, right? But she still is uncertain. She struggles with it. She's not sure if she's made that right choice. Get rid of Rose, because it's Rey that Finn wants, and Finn wants to go after Rey because now it's like, fuck, right? That's his motivation. Like, fuck, girl, no way, man. That's my girl, man. You know what I mean? And Poe is now the leader of the resistance and all that. There's so many things you could have done and still be true to the characters, to the legacy characters, that would have just made The Last Jedi a better, more complete film. I don't know what they were doing here. It feels weird. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm just as curious to see what they're going to do. GT Portuguese says, how do you think they will handle Princess Leia's character in episode 9? If it was me, I would recast her. because I think you can get, not with somebody who's known, with a unknown actress to the mainstream. You can find somebody from the theater in Britain, here in Toronto, in New York, somebody who is a relatively unknown to the mainstream entertainment industry that maybe resembles Carrie Fisher. And I think that's how you do justice to the character. I don't want to read about Princess Leia's death in the opening crawl. I think that's bullshit, and I don't see any reason why you cannot recast her. And I think, I don't want to speak for all of you, but for me, if they recast her, and if it's a good job, and it looks like her, and she sounds like her, and she's doing I mean, obviously we know it's not her, but at the end of the film, we could be like, yeah, man, you did her character justice. Carrie Fisher would be proud. Would be proud. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think they should do. Alex 2.0 says the Rose Finn relationship was so damn yeah, it was garbage. It was. I'm not saying that I don't like Rose as a character. I'm just saying there's no need for her to have the. I mean, sure, have a little fanboy kind of like, wow, it's Finn. Oh my God. Sure, that's fine. But this love thing, don't fucking have that bullshit love thing. Like, no. Get rid of that. Get rid of Canto Bite. Have Rose as the code breaker. She knows a lot about codes. I like Benicio del Toro's character, don't get me wrong. But the whole Canto Bite, it was a useless side story that was fat, that you could trim off the steak, that would have helped with the pacing of the film. I'm not saying it would have made me feel any better about the third act of the movie, but you could trim that off, and it would have helped with the pacing of the film. Let's see here. Just scrolling back here to make sure I don't miss anything, guys. Glad you guys could tune in. I'm glad some of you are still with me. Again, this will go back onto my channel. Favorite zombie movie? Womer. I'm fucking butchering it. Favorite zombie movie? Probably 28 Days Later. Probably my favorite. I saw that in the theater and I was thoroughly impressed by it. I like how small it sort of is. And I like the original Night of the Living Dead too. The 1969, 68, 69, somewhere around there. I like that one as well. Iron Claw 30 says, Dave, do you listen to Howard Stern? Sometimes I do. I have satellite radio in my car, so sometimes I do. Not all the time though. Happy New Year. This is Red Ranger 241. Happy New Year, Dave. Happy New Year to you too, buddy. Devontae Huntley. How you doing, Devontae? I'm not fond of the Star Wars sequel trilogy so far. Story-wise, they lack. I feel it came too soon. They should have waited a few more years. They rush it. Why not every 3 years? It's all about story. If the story and execution is implemented correctly, they could implement it once every year. A good movie's a good movie. A good, foundation is a good, strong foundation, whether they release it 1 year or 10 years. But I get the point that you're trying to make. Christian Haver, Silent Night, Deadly Night. What do you think if you've seen it? I have not seen it. But maybe I will. Christopher Wynn, Indiana Jones 5. Well, hey, I'm still not convinced they're going to do it. Indiana Jones 5 is in development right now with David Koepp writing the script. He's the guy, of course, that wrote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But he's also a guy that has written some pretty good films as well. Indiana Jones 5. I think what you need to do is you need to write a script pertaining to Harrison Ford's age, and I don't mean jokes and quips every 5 seconds about how old he is. I mean, make it more of a thriller sort of, yes, have the fight scenes, have him in the costume, but make it so it's, if he doesn't fight as much, or if he's not doing crazy ass shit like he did when he was 40, we don't even notice that, because the story and the stakes and the intensity and the music and the villain and all that kind of stuff are so strong and so great that we walk away going, fuck, that was a great Indiana Jones movie. He's a seasoned Indiana Jones now, but that was fucking awesome. That's what you got to do. And that's what I hope they do, because I don't want to see Indiana Jones, falling off of things and hang on a shot where we're like, yeah. If you know what I mean. Oh, Alex 2.0, Indy 5 writer is the same as Indy 4 writer past. No, but dude, I'm telling you right now, he's also written, let me just, I don't have it off the top of my head. He is the same writer, but he is also a writer. He also wrote the screenplay for Jurassic Park as well. So you have to keep that in mind. He also wrote the screenplay for the original Mission Impossible and for the original Spider-Man. And Stir of Echoes. And what else has he got here? He's got, Snake Eyes and Panic Room, which was a really good film. And War of the Worlds and Angels and Demons. And yeah, I mean, he's had a few films that have not been totally great. But he's actually had some Sorry there, guys. Bit of feedback. But he's had some films that haven't been too bad as well. So keep that in mind. Are you looking forward to The Nun? No, I don't think so. Because The Nun, from the Conjuring films, in case you guys don't know that, The Nun was, correct me if I'm wrong, but why are we having a horror movie around The Nun when The Nun was supposed to be something that our main female protagonist, I forget her name now, in The Conjuring 2, she saw. It's predicated on her. I don't see it the way she sees it, and now you're having a movie about, now everybody can see The Nun? Like, it almost is like, it renders the whole point of The Nun in The Conjuring 2 obsolete. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to justify it, but the fact that you have to do that tells me that, look, it works in The Conjuring 2, it's scary in The Conjuring 2, leave it in The Conjuring 2. It's not a strong enough character. Now, hey, maybe I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm like, I don't want to see a whole fucking movie about The Nun. I mean, come on. Come up with something original. Anyway. Funny Nielsen says, who's your favorite slasher villain and why? Slasher villain? Well, funny enough, you know, I always, when I think of slasher, I do not think of Michael Myers. Because my favorites are Halloween 1 and 2. Halloween. For sure. Halloween is my favorite out of those two. So when I think of slasher, I think of like Jason, Freddy, Chucky, Leatherface. I would probably say Freddy is my favorite slasher. Maybe, you know, he's my favorite slasher. Okay. What do we got now? 8:37. Okay, guys, we're going to go to 9 o'clock. That's 2 hours. We're going to go to 9 o'clock. I think that's solid for my first video of the new year, sort of the first official video back. We'll go till 9 o'clock. That's 2 hours. That's a solid 2 hours. Again, if I haven't answered your questions, it's nothing personal. I appreciate all of you guys who tuned in, and of course, to all of my subscribers as well. We're rolling on to 4,000 soon, which is great. Dave, you are the only YouTuber I've listened to about the new Halloween. Oh, well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. There may be some others out there, too, that are awesome, that give valid critiques and valid information about the Halloween franchise and about the films. I appreciate that. I always try to come at it from an industry sort of perspective. And I think that's some value that I bring to the table that others may not. Of course, there are other industry professionals on YouTube as well that can certainly bring their expertise to the table when it comes to Halloween. So I always just try to look at it from what I know about the industry, what I know about producers, working with producers, what they mean when they say this, what that really means. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be right all the time, but it's something to think about. And I think that's better than just saying, oh, well, I think it's this, or I think it's that, or I think it's dumb, or I think it's good. I try to say, well, here's what this might mean. Here's what this could mean. Here's some perspective for you to think about. And I believe I was one of the first ones that called it that this was probably going to be a sequel to Halloween 1 and not Halloween 2. And that was based on purely what I was reading in between the lines and what I know about what people say when they say certain things. So, yeah, I appreciate that I have some value to those who, or I appreciate that I offer some value to those who are interested in hearing my thoughts on Halloween and anything else. So it's great. I appreciate that. Thank you. Rogue Reaper says, is the horror genre your favorite genre? Yes, the horror genre is my favorite genre. Your thoughts on the original The Fog? Oh, yeah, one of my favorite John Carpenter films, 1980, I believe. Love The Fog. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray, and love it. Great stuff. The Shape 1978 says, Dave, do you think Disney will run Star Wars into the ground by pumping so many movies so fast? The Last Jedi, for me, should be a warning to Star Wars fans because, now again, that doesn't mean that Disney is going to run it into the ground. Disney has done some wonderful things with some wonderful franchises. Let's not forget they also own Marvel, and they release all of the Marvel films. But The Last Jedi, for me, is a little bit of a warning, especially the way the film ended with Broom Boy. That's very Disney. Okay, that was just a fucking ad for a ring that kids will want to buy. The only thing missing from that ending is Tinkerbell, coming out and going. That's the only fucking thing. It's pretentious. It's too in your face. I know what the message is. I know, yeah, the Force is, I know why Rey is a nobody. The Force is in everybody, and you don't have to be, a somebody to be a somebody, or sorry, you don't have to come from somewhere to be I get all that. But put that in the narrative underneath, have it play out, show, don't tell. And it was what they were doing with that part of The Last Jedi felt very telling. Even though they're showing and nobody's coming out and say it, it doesn't need to be in your face like that. Okay? It's pretentious, it's overbearing, it's right on the forehead. And it's lame. It's lame, and it's lame. There's a lot of other there's a lot of other words I could use to describe it. But I just think that, yes, The Last Jedi is the most Disney film we've had, in my opinion. And that, to me, is a bit of a warning that, oh shit, is this what it's going to be now? Because look, Star Wars is not about spaceships and lightsabers and laser guns, and it's not about that. You can have a movie that look, I don't give a fuck if it looks like a Star Wars movie, okay? Just because it looks like a Star Wars movie and it feels like a Star Wars movie and there's a lot of fancy editing and special effects, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. And if Disney's going to negate what Star Wars is about, and I'm not talking about the Skywalker family, okay? I'm talking about, the crux of the hero's journey, mythology, symbolism, why we gravitate towards that story so much. I'm not talking about the Skywalkers, but if you're going to abandon that and you're going to go off and do other things and have it, very Disney, I don't know if I'm going to be on that ship, guys. I don't know. Because there's a lot of missed opportunities in that film that should have happened. Not because I'm complaining, I'm a little fanboy, just from a story arc and narrative perspective. It's like, why are you doing this? You can't do that. You have to, go this way. And I'm not talking about not taking risks. If you want to kill Snoke, go ahead and kill Snoke. Go ahead. But then you have to follow through justifying that killing. Nothing happened after Snoke. Rey is still Rey, Ren is still Ren, and Snoke is dead. Yes, but Ren is going to be no, nothing happened. It was anticlimactic. Anyway. You can see how this has affected me. I'm going to go off and off and off and off. On and on and on and on. And that wasn't the crux of your question. So it's a hot. I get triggered. I get triggered with Star Wars lately. Doug Dial says, do the Blue Jays have a chance to win the AL East? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. Probably not with the acquisition of Stanton, but I think that's his name, right? On the Yankees. Fuck, the Yankees are fucking stacked. Holy shit. Which does not mean they're going to do well. It does not mean they're going to do well, but if I was a pitcher going up against the Yankees lineup right now, fuck, man. Holy shit. That's intense. Okay, Huge fan, Dave. Do you enjoy the Rocky movies? I already answered that, and the answer is yes. So in Jaws 5 or Back to the Future 4? Neither. Although maybe Jaws Jaws 5, because Back to the Future is the perfect trilogy. I mean, 3 is probably the weakest of the two. 1 is the strong. I mean, they get progressively weaker, although 2's not weak, but they just get progressively weaker. You don't need to do a Back to the Future 4. You just don't. It's a nice trilogy it's set. If you wanted to do a movie about a shark, yeah, maybe Jaws 5, sure, but you don't even need to do that. The Shape 1978, have you seen Thanksgiving? Never heard of it. The Big A, I was going to say the Big Apple. The Big Ape says, have you read the original script for Halloween 666 from 1993? No, I have not read the original script for Halloween 6, but I know what it is, and it won't change my mind. Okay, 15 more minutes to go here, folks. Again, I appreciate to all those who are tuning in on this Sunday night. I believe the Golden Globes are tonight, right? Golden Globes. God, what a waste. Oh, boy. Golden Globes mean nothing. Just scrolling here, folks, just to see if I've missed anything. Armando Silva says, I made a Halloween short film while in film school. How can I send it to you? Well, just give me the link. Send me a private YouTube message on my YouTube channel and send me the link. I'm more than happy to watch it when I have some time. Christian Rodriguez says, what do you think of the X-Men Universe Mutants being this horror movie? I'm not familiar with it. So I really don't have anything to say on that. Just scrolling down. Christian Hafer says, did you hear about Jerry Van Dyke? He was great in Coach. Yes, I did. Yeah. He died, was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, that was sad. It's too bad. But I mean, 86, it's not surprising. But yeah. Landon Like a Boss 999 says, who would win? Your opinion of battle, Michael or Jason? I don't know. Neither. They kill themselves at the exact same time and they die. They both die. There you go. Iron Claw 30. Mood is important with horror. However, what about the music? Absolutely. Music is important too. Yep. 100%. 13 minutes. Yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. This is a good 2 hours kicking off 2018. I'm just scrolling back to see if there's anything that I've missed. Something different maybe. Thomas Howlett. I don't know if he's still on here. Any established director you think could have been a perfect fit for a Carpenter-esque Halloween 1 type film besides Carpenter himself? Yeah, James Wan. I think James Wan is probably the most talented horror director we have today because he understands. I'm not saying he's great in everything, but I'm saying it's clear he understands what you think you see, what you think you hear, getting in here. The less is more. The mood, the atmosphere. He understands that. And I think he's probably one of the better ones doing it today. So yeah. Now, is James Wan the right fit for a Halloween movie? I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think of him right off the bat, but I think he's probably one of our better horror directors today. Christopher, when will Spielberg ever allow Poltergeist to get a Blu-ray release it deserves? Is it not on Blu-ray? I thought it was on Blu-ray. I didn't know it wasn't on Blu-ray. I didn't know that. Hansel Herrera. I think I'm saying that right. Did you like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake? The one from 2003 with Jessica Biel? If that's the one you're referring to, yes. I saw it in the theater. I did enjoy it. I thought it was solid. Landon Like a Boss. Like a boss. He's asking questions like a boss. Are they going to make another Friday the 13th? Yeah, they will. They will. But you see, folks, with the remakes of Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street, I think they should be low budget, and I want them to go back to the roots of what the originals were. I don't want them to copy the originals verbatim, but I would be okay when it comes to Friday the 13th with them, with us not knowing whether it's the mom or Jason doing the killing. Right up to when you watch the film. In the marketing, you have no idea. I think that would be great. I know a lot of you guys like the slasher and the blood and the guts and the gore and the kills, right? You like the kills. Maybe I'm old, I'm old school and it could be my age, although I know a lot of you guys who are subscribed to me are my age and even a bit older. But I like mood, atmosphere, and the original Friday the 13th, even though it was a slasher and there was some blood, guts, and gore, it was very moody, very atmospheric, and very played on your psyche. And I think they should go back to that. I think a Friday the 13th remake today, low budget, $5 million, totally campground, kids go camping, you don't know who the killer is, fucked up shit starts to go down. Yeah, play it up. I think the reason why they won't is because Jason is so identified with is so iconic and so identified with the Friday the 13th brand that I think they're too afraid of doing a Friday the 13th movie without Jason. I understand it from a business perspective, but I think rebooting the franchise without Jason and then bringing him in again in a later sequel, that's interesting to me. That's interesting. Because then you open up the playground, you open up, the tickle trunk with so many different things that you can work with and really make a good horror movie, slasher movie. Instead of so focused on, do we do about, Jason's backstory or his mom or his dad or what about this? Or, don't fuck, because then your hands are tied. Wayne O'Warmer says, what's your opinion on Insidious Part 1? I really liked Insidious Part 1. I saw it in the theater. I enjoyed it because, again, Juan knows how to get in here and play on what you think you see and what you think you hear. I thought Insidious 1 was great. I don't even think it needed a sequel. I loved how it ended on the cliffhanger. It was great. If Insidious did not have a sequel, if there was no Chapter 2, no Chapter 3, no Lost Key, Insidious would be a horror classic right now, I think, in my mind. And well, maybe not a horror classic. It's too early to be a classic because obviously it is only from 2010, I believe. But in 20 years, yeah, 100%. Now, Chapter 2 was okay. It was interesting because Juan was directing it. And so there was that element. Juan brought everything that we loved about 1 into 2. 3 was better than I thought it was going to be, but you can start to see it now. You can start to see the pattern with Insidious becoming just another horror franchise. But I thought the first one was great. Philip Rouse says, have you seen Never Hike Alone? I have. Great fan film. Yep, best Friday the 13th fan film on there. 100%. Okay, we got 7 minutes, folks. Oh, fucking thing hit my glasses. 7 minutes. We got 7 minutes before we're going to call it a night here, and that'll be 2 hours. 2 hours. Last question from me. The chicken or the egg? What's first, Dave? The chicken or the egg? I'm going to say the chicken, because the chicken evolved and then laid an egg. Can't have an egg without a chicken, but you can have a chicken without an egg. I should have ended on that note. That's funny. Okay. Red Ranger 241, are you excited for Avengers Infinity War? I'll be honest again, like I've repeated, I'm not a big superhero fan. I've only seen the first Avengers. I haven't even seen, there's so many films I haven't even seen. I've seen a mix of some and some I haven't seen. So I'm not really. I'm not emotionally invested into the films. So I'll be honest. No, but that's not because I think they're crap. It's just because I'm not emotionally invested. If you are, that's great. And I'm sure you are by the basis of your question. This is great. Just scrolling back to see if there's anything I haven't answered here on this Sunday, January 7th, 2018. Gary Walker says, would you ever do a fan film for Friday the 13th? I've thought about it. Yep. Never say never. I've totally thought about it. Terrell Sims says, what's your favorite scary movie? There's so many different genres of scary, like what scares me, you know? It's hard to say. My favorite horror movie of all time is Halloween, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the scariest movie I've ever seen. But there's reasons, you know, why I like it. Again, just in these last 5 minutes here, trying to find questions I haven't answered, maybe questions that aren't related. Okay, scrolling down. 49 Fan TX. Do you think Dr. Loomis will get killed in the beginning of the new Halloween film? I don't think Dr. Loomis is going to be in the new Halloween film. I don't think he will be. What's the movie you're most looking forward to this year? Off the top of my head, probably the Halloween film, but I have to look at a list and see what movies are coming out, because that could change. Devontae Huntley says, I think the next Friday the 13th reboot should be a child Jason killing kids in the preteen range. How's that sound? Nah. Not to me. No. I don't want to see that. So that's not for me. If that's for you, that's great. For me, no. I couldn't care less. I don't want to see Jason at, 12. Okay, 4 minutes. We're down to 4 minutes, folks. 4 minutes. Have you seen the Winchester trailer? When Al Warmer says, have you seen the Winchester trailer? I have not. Thomas Howlett says, favorite Christopher Nolan film besides Batman? I'm going to say probably Insomnia. If you haven't seen Insomnia, it's a Christopher Nolan film that slips right under the radar. Al Pacino, Hilary Swank, Robin Williams. I highly recommend it. Loved Insomnia, but it's got a lot of mood and atmosphere. And it's a mystery, and you're not totally in the it's not a mystery in the sense that you don't know what's going on. You're sort of ahead of the narrative a little bit, so you're sort of one step ahead of some of the characters. But it's a great film. Check it out. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend Insomnia. David Eck, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's not a Christmas movie. People look, I understand it takes place at Christmas. I understand the writer of Die Hard, I believe, recently came out and said, well, of course it's a Christmas movie. I tried to get it made, around some other holiday, I think it was, but they wouldn't go for that. I think he was being a little facetious. It's become a Christmas movie because it's funny. It's a quip. And over the years, it's sort of caught on that, oh, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. It's not actually a Christmas movie. It didn't come out, in 1988 as a Christmas movie. At least I don't think it did. But I think it's fun to say it was. I think it's fun and cool to say, yeah, it's a Christmas movie, right? Because it takes place at Christmas. But then, if that's your precedence for, if that's your if that's your baseline to what a Christmas movie is, that it just takes place at Christmas, because the narrative of Die Hard, like the actual plot, isn't about Christmas. It's not like he has to defend the building because the terrorists are there to steal Christmas trees, and they're all dressed in ho 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 Santa gear. Like it's not about Christmas. It just happens to take place on Christmas. So if that's the bar for what a Christmas movie is, then there's a lot of movies that aren't Christmas movies that you could say are Christmas movies, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's fun to say it's a Christmas movie, but is it actually a Christmas movie? No, of course not. Benji GTA 5 says, are you a Walking Dead fan, Dave? No, I'm not actually. Not because I don't think it's good. I've never actually got into it. Robert De Niro or Al Pacino? I'm going to say, That's tough, man. I'm probably going to say De Niro for now. Okay, guys, we're down to 1 minute. So in the meantime and in between time, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys subscribing to me and watching my videos. And it means a lot. And again, if I didn't answer your question, it's nothing personal. Things are going by at a fast clip, and it's hard to answer things on the fly. And sometimes, of course, you know, it's a matter of trying not to repeat myself and answer the same question 5 times. So it's nothing personal. I will do one of these live things again very soon, hopefully. So comment below and let me know if you guys enjoyed it, and I will continue to do it in the near future. I will be back in the near future, of course, with another video about Halloween or horror or Star Wars or whatever the case is very soon. Things are starting to pick up for me a little bit here now. I should say, I was going to say a lot, but no, I'm going to say it's a little bit. I'm moving into the 2nd season on Worry Eaters, which is a new animated show we're in production on. And of course, I got all my other voice work that I'm doing as well. So it's a busy time. It's a slower time because it's January, but things are starting to pick up a little bit after the Christmas lull. So I will make videos when I can. If you want to join me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. McRae is MCRAE. Facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. That is where you can follow me. That's where I try to post when I'm not doing videos. Like and subscribe, or follow, I should say, to my Facebook page, because when I'm not posting videos, that's where I try to post in the meantime and in between time. Okay, so it's 9:01. I've gone over. I'm going to answer one last question. Hopefully it's one that I have not answered yet. And let's see here. The question is going to come from somebody I have not answered yet, if they're even here. 51 Peach. Take some water. I've been talking a long time. Even us voice actors can stumble over our words. Okay, so everybody! Okay. Okay, well, I have answered a question before, but I will answer this. This is from N.O. John Carpenter or Wes Craven. Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to say... That's tough. I'm probably going to say for B-movie sort of fun kind of... for the B-movie vibe, you got to go John Carpenter. For... revolutionizing horror, you gotta go Carpenter, yes, but it's very rare that a director, let alone a horror director, let alone a director, will create 2 iconic characters in one genre. And Wes Craven did it with Ghostface and with Freddy Krueger, and that's pretty impressive. They're so different. Their movies are different. Yes, they're horror masters, but their movies are different. If you know when you're watching a John Carpenter horror film, and for the most part, you know when you're watching a Wes Craven horror film. So it's hard to pick, but so for me, I have to sort of compartmentalize them into those 2 categories. Anyways, folks, my name's Dave McRae. This will go right up onto my YouTube channel shortly after this is done. Comment below and let me know your thoughts if you want to watch it again. Again, if I didn't get to your question, I apologize, but it's nothing personal. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope your 2018 is positive, productive, and successful for you. I will talk to you guys soon. Let me just get ready to log off here. Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Here we go. Okay. Wait a minute. How do I stop recording? Trying to figure out how to stop recording. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I got my finger up. We're ready.